I have something really important that I want to share with you, and I want to start by asking you two rhetorical questions. First question, what's the one thing that your potential customers need to know, but you forgot to tell them? Number two, would you sell more if you stopped diluting your message with your product or service? Now, these questions might seem unusual, but I promise you, when we uncover your answers to them together right now, they're going to transform your business and your results. Now, what if I could show you a way in less than 5 minutes to supercharge your marketing message and make your customers want to say yes? Wouldn't that be a better use of your time? Could you see yourself being able to take that insight and use it to stop boring and overwhelming your customers and start helping them to buy from you? Wouldn't that be a better result? Great. We're on the same page, and I now know that I have your undivided attention. Now, first and foremost, what I'm about to share with you applies to everybody. It doesn't matter what you're selling or who you're selling it to. Everyone is selling something, a product, an idea, a service, a lifestyle, or even you. Now, to show you that this works, even for something that you would presume is price sensitive, I'm going to give you a demonstration using a simple product that you're familiar with. A glass of water. Here is a simple glass of water. I got it out of my tap, it's been filtered, so it's pure, and it's pretty cold. Water is a very practical and refreshing beverage, but it's not worth very much, is it? So right now, sitting where you're sitting, in the comfort of your own home or office, how much is my glass of water worth to you? If any of you would offer me more than a couple of cents, I'd be very surprised. Can you imagine paying more than a couple of cents? Of course not. Why would you? Now compound this with an old school marketing message and approach where I talk to you about how fantastic my water is. If we had the time, I could spend an hour with you right now listing all of the features and benefits and trying to convince you why you should part with your hard-earned money to buy my water. In fact, it's the most pure water in the world. It was drawn by virgin hands from a million-year-old glacier in Canada and stored in solid gold bottles. Blah, blah, blah. I think you get my point. And if you were polite, you would even listen to the whole thing knowing full well that you had no intention of buying my water. And at the end of it, you might even give me an excuse, commonly known in the industry as an objection, that my water is just too expensive. Does any of this sound familiar? It should, because 99% of the messages that I see in newspapers, brochures, websites, social media, the yellow pages are exactly like this. I see business owners just like you with a powerful solution that can really help people, but I see you making the common mistake of diluting your message with your product or service. So what do I mean by that? Let's go back to my example of this glass of water. And I want you to ask yourself, if this glass of water were your product or service, what would your message need to be in order to sell it? Does it do you any good knowing how plentiful and cheap that water is to focus on the features and benefits or to emphasize your brand over and over? Is an ad full of stuff all about you and your product really going to help your customers to buy? The answer is no. And if you're being honest with yourself, isn't that exactly what you've been doing? When you feel the need to talk about how great your product or service is, instead of focusing on your customer's pain and what she needs to do to fix it now, you're diluting your message and your effectiveness. When someone comes to you for help because they are thirsty for what you have, shouldn't you really ask them, why are you thirsty? How about, how thirsty are you? Or what would it be worth to you right now if you had something to drink? When you sit down next time to work on your sales or marketing message, I want you to ask yourself and do yourself a huge favor. Focus on building up the depth of your customer's thirst instead of focusing on why your water is better than your competitors. Now, to do this, you need to first find out why your customers are in pain and what's the one thing that you need to do to provide the solution. That's it. No more wasting time focusing on closing techniques, building up your credibility, whether or not your logo is featured prominently enough, selling features versus benefits, etc. These things are a distraction from your main purpose of finding the pain, understanding the depth of the pain, and curing the pain. And if you're still not convinced, let's come back to my example of this glass of water. A moment ago, I asked you how much you were prepared to pay me for this water, and you agreed at the time, not very much. What if I offered it to you in a 5-star restaurant in New York? Would you pay a bit more? Maybe $4. What if you were in a 4-hour road trip with 2 young, thirsty, screaming children, and the only place that you could find water was in a bottle at 7-Eleven? Would you be willing to pay a bit more? How about $8? And what if you were on a holiday in a third world country and you couldn't drink out of the tap? Would you be willing to pay a bit more again? Maybe $12? And what if you were stranded in the desert without a drink for 24 hours in 40°C heat, and you'd been crawling across the sand trying to find someone to help you? Would you be prepared to pay me $100? What about $1,000 for this glass of water? Isn't your life worth at least $10,000? My point exactly. The value of the water or your product or service is directly related to the amount of pain your customers are in at the time. If the pain is bad or it's a matter of life and death, your customer will pay any price to get the solution. But she will only pay pennies for your features and benefits. This is what I call the art of sales seduction. The key to helping more people say yes to what you do is not about adding more services, features, or benefits. It's about stripping away everything that's not working and eliminating distractions so that you can focus on the one thing that is going to solve your customer's pain and help them say yes right now.